Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to another episode of Courtside with Kinnebrew. What a fun weekend. AAU season is in full effect. Had a pretty busy weekend in St. Cloud with my 8th grade, with my 14U team. Fun weekend. I'm definitely excited for the summer and our program. Got to watch a lot of basketball, a lot of players. So much fun. Good time of year. Today's topic: is social media a good thing for student athletes? In short, I say yes. There's a lot that probably goes along with that um, in regards to how you manage sick kids in general and social media. One of the great things about social media, one is you're just getting yourself out there, and especially as kids get older, um, into high school and then even into college, you start looking at personal branding. Um, but as we're talking about social media, there's a lot of downsides to social media as well, and I think that's one of the hard things as parents is to how do you navigate that? How do you help kids? How do you help your own kids with social media? Um, and how to take advantages of the good that social media can provide. And I think that's just, as a parent, that's just over the years. I've with the kids that I work with my own kids, and dealing with social media, just dealing with kids being on phones in general. Um, I definitely think it's a hard thing to navigate and to help kids with, and the importance of the image that student athletes show on social media, what's being posted. Are you really just wasting your time on social media channels? But I do think there's a lot of good that comes from social media, and I think one of the big things, especially if we're talking student athletes, Twitter's a big platform for student athletes. When kids are coming up and they have a dream, they have a goal of playing at a collegiate level, I do think that Twitter is probably the main platform as far as colleges and recruiting. Um, and over the years, I do feel like it's important for kids to have some kind of presence on Twitter in regards to the sport that they're in, and being able to post their highlights. And that's one specifically that I struggle with in my own kids, is posting your own highlights. I think it's really cool if someone else posts your highlights and you can retweet it or you can repost it or whatever. Um, but I've always had a different opinion about players posting their own highlights, because a lot of times it just has a feeling of look at me, look at me, look at me. And I think it can have a negative effect, whether that's the intent or not. Um, but if kids get really hung up in posting their highlights, it can definitely have a negative effect. And I have mixed feelings about it, because I do see the value in it as far as colleges seeing those highlights, um, and players getting noticed. I do wonder when kids are more known, especially if you've got highlights and they end up going viral in the social media world. I think a lot of kids get noticed that way, and whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Um, but I do feel like Twitter is a big platform for coaches, one, to reach out to kids. If you do have a presence on Twitter, it makes it very easy for colleges and scouts to reach out. It's easy for players to post where they're playing for the weekend, or even their summer schedule. Um, it's easy to reach out to schools, reach out to colleges, coaches, and just be like, "Hey, I'm playing here this weekend. Um, here's my schedule." Especially as kids get older and there's specific schools that they might be interested in. Um, Obviously, if the college is already interested in a player, they're probably going to have a pretty good idea of where they're playing, what they have going on in the summer. Um, but as kids get older and they're wanting to play at a collegiate level, being able to reach out to schools and get your name out there so coaches know you exist. I know just over the years and trying to navigate and help my own kids get recruited, whether it's coaches, whether it's friends that have connections, whatever the case might be, everyone always asks for a highlight tape. And that's just something like me as a parent, I never really did for my kids. Didn't record. I mean, now everything's live streamed. You can usually find clips of it, but um, never just made highlight tapes of my kids. And I think now there's obviously some different programs out there that players are able to do that, and there's definitely some value in it. Um, I made a comment a while ago. It seemed like here over the last couple years, players really went above and beyond to, and this was mainly on Twitter, but we'll just say on social media to post their offers, and it's still happening. And you get an offer from so and so, and it's like it blows up on social media. I got an offer from here. I got an offer from here. Thank you for a visit. And I don't necessarily have a problem with it because I do see the value in it, and I think it helps players raise. I don't know if it helps their stock raise, maybe. If a college sees that a kid's being recruited from this school and it makes them wanna take a look at that player. Um, that was a response that I got from a parent. I never really looked at it that way, so I commented on it because I was seeing it a lot, and I was just wondering why. And just in today's and where we are today with social media, um, personal branding, uh, getting your name out there. The more that your name is out there, the more that coaches are likely to see you, know who you are. Um, but that can be good and bad. I think of, I mean, if we're just talking social media in general, I think as kids become more known in the world of social media, there's a lot of pressure there. I feel like it can definitely go to a kid's head when you have social media, you have everybody telling you how good you are, because of some highlight tapes or an article that was written. Um, when that stuff gets out there, and there's media, people in the media telling you how good you are, especially from a very young age, and it just continues. Um, that puts a lot of pressure on kids, and I definitely think it can go to a kid's head pretty quick when a lot of people are telling you how good you are, and that kind of gets ingrained into a kid's head, and you get out trying to say things the right way without um you go to tournaments and you feel like you can just walk on the floor and show up because you think you're really good. um it's a hard thing to navigate as a parent, as a coach. um I feel like that's definitely a negative side to just the social media world. Is it really going to a kid's head? And I think from the more this happens, the more that players are told how good they are. I feel like they have a tendency to quit putting in the work, quit getting better. Um, I see it often with kids that are very good at a young age. Um, and we're talking like middle school. Kids that are very good at a young age, and they're kind of dominating travel ball, and maybe they're on a really good team. They don't lose very often. Lots of trophies. People have been telling them how good they are. They're on a really good team, and then they hit their freshman year of high school, and from that point on, or even 8th grade, I see a lot of kids now that are juniors, seniors that are the exact same player they were in 8th grade and that they are as a junior and senior. Um, and I do feel like that's because they peak at such a young age, um, and they've always been good enough, and just the work ethic and the amount of work that they put in to continue to get better stops because they've always been good enough. Someone's always told them how good they are. Um, and I see a lot of kids that are very good coming up, and then it just seems like they hit that freshman, 8th grade freshman peak, and they just don't get any better through high school. And I don't know that that's a social media thing. I'm not going to say that that's the only reason why something like this happens. Um, but I do think the attention that kids get from a young age can have a negative effect, um, in regards to progressing. And as a parent, as a trainer, that's something that myself, I really try to stress the kids, like especially if their goals are way up here. You can't ever. It's great to hear, that other people feel like that you're at a certain level. That's always great to hear, but you can't ever just be content with where you're at when your dreams and your goals are up here. And again, I think as parents, coaches, mentors, trainers, that's something that we have to help kids with, is how to navigate this. And I'll use my team as an example. I have a very talented team. They've been training with me since first, second grade. So I have a fairly talented team. Um, and I think there has been a number of times that we walk into a gym, we think we're really good, and we think we can just walk out on the court and it's just going to happen. Like, we're just going to win games. We haven't lost many, but um, we've gotten to a point to where I feel like we're not as good as we think we are. Um, and I say we, it's my team, and a lot of that, again, I feel like comes from social media. I think comes from articles being written saying how good you are, other people telling you how good you are, whether that be friends, family. And I don't have a bad team by any means. Don't get me wrong. Um, but I think the effect of social media and what it can do to a player mentally can definitely have a negative effect. And that's something you gotta help kids through. It's a conversation I had with my team over the weekend. Like, we're not very good right now. We can't just show up, and something that I stress with all of my players, and I've even talked about on the show, is just effort. The want to play defense, just the effort, the energy. Um, Coaches shouldn't have to coach that, and that's effort. Effort is a choice, and that's one of those things, like, it's really tough, um, to coach. I mean, you can preach it all you want, um, but you can't make a kid have energy. And at some point, you hope you open players' eyes to, if you don't have energy, if you don't have energy, whether you're on the bench, if you don't have energy while you're in the game, just that effort stuff, cheering on your teammates, like, that's a perfect recipe to be on the bench, to get cut. Just a player's attitude, how they carry themselves, um, body language is huge. And I'm going just way off track from the social media stuff. But I do think it kind of ties in, I guess, because I think the social media side, and players feeling like they are better than they're playing, or feeling like they can just show up to games because they think they're really good. Um, Definitely comes is a negative effect from the social media world. Uh, but there's a lot of value in the world of social media. Um, Let me check on some comments here. Hey, my wife's awake. It could give them motivation as well. Just depends on the individual athlete. Not all will have the negative effect. I 100% agree. Doesn't always have a negative effect. Um, and I think, as parents and mentors and trainers and coaches, that's something we just have to help players with. There's definitely a motivational side to it when you're seeing certain things on social media, um, and how I think my son is, he's very motivated, and this weekend was stressful. We lost 2 games in a row yesterday, um, and so taking those losses and just how things play out, very motivated to get better. And these are conversations that I have with my players, quite a bit. Is just keeping a level head, and not taking in all of what everybody is saying about you. And as your kids get better, as they're, especially in the world of social media, um, as they become more known, these things are harder to deal with. Um, I think what's really cool is situations like, um, Mr. Grant, um, Nelson from NDSU. He had a video. He had a couple videos just go really viral, this winter, which I feel like really spiked his draft stock, just where he's being placed as an NBA prospect, which I think is really cool. He's got a very busy summer ahead of him. Um, so again, I feel like there's a ton of positives that come from social media. And as a parent, and this is going to be some things that we get into more, in Playmaker University, is how to navigate Twitter, how to help kids get recruited. I do think, AAU programs, something that we're working on in our program, especially on the Twitter side, is posting a lot of our players, their accomplishments. I think it's great for parents to make these posts of your kids' accomplishments and their highlights. And, um, I think stuff like that is great, especially if it's coming from their AAU program. So something that we're working on in our program is getting highlights together for kids, and how do we do that in such a big program and so many players? But um, I feel like it has a different look if a program is posting things about players, about teams, and then those players are able to repost it. That has a different look than me as a player always posting my own highlights. Um, or even just parents posting, making an effort to create a highlight tape for your kids, um, and share that stuff. I've never done it a ton. Um, so I definitely feel the pushback on that, I guess. I've always had not an issue. I've just always felt a different way about posting highlights of my own kids. Um, One, because I work with so many kids. I mean, that's what I do every day. I work. There's a long list of kids that I work with. So I've always felt a different way about bragging about my own kids. But I do see the value of it as a parent, especially if your child has a dream, has a goal of playing at a collegiate level, getting a college scholarship. Like getting those highlight tapes out there is pretty crucial. Um, that's how players get noticed, especially when you're in North Dakota. Um, Players in North Dakota don't get seen as much as players in bigger cities. Like that's just the reality of it. So being able to have those highlight tapes and getting those out in front of coaches, um, I think it is very crucial. I have friends that and coaches now are like, "Hey, send me a highlight tape. Send me this. Send me that." And it's like, yeah, I don't really have one. Let me throw something together. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of value in the world of social media. I do think that again, Twitter on the recruiting side, I think is huge. I'm becoming more active on Twitter as of late, because I do see the value in it. I'm on social media all the time, just with my business. Again, personal brand. Um, I wonder, do they even teach social media in school? Like, I feel like it's so much a part of our daily everything. In a good way. Obviously, you can get lost in just TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram, whatever else is out there. I don't even know. You can definitely get lost in it, which is why I feel like, and maybe there is, I don't know, classes in school to help kids navigate this. Um, Again, something that we're working on. I'm putting a lot of stuff together that we're gonna start going through in Playmaker University, to start discussing a lot of this. I think this will be something that we talk to our players about, within our AAU program. Um, it's a big part of just life today, the world of social media and how to handle it. Um, so these will be a lot of big conversations coming up. If you do have any comments in regards to social media, pros and cons about it, your feelings about it, are your kids on social media? Why not? I have a lot of kids on Instagram. That's probably my main platform that my players keep in touch with me on, is Instagram. But especially kids that do personal training with me, because we get so detailed in our training sessions. We record a lot of our training sessions here at the gym, and we just get very. I take them to the TV and we break a lot of stuff down. So I have a lot of players that do personal training with me that record their training sessions, and they send them to me through Instagram. They also have my cell phone number. So kind of either or. Some don't have Instagram, which is perfectly fine. Um, but again, on the from as a trainer, like Instagram's really huge just in getting content on stuff to work on. We post a lot of stuff on Instagram. I think YouTube's probably becoming the bigger um, YouTube Shorts, YouTube. I kind of feel like YouTube's taking over, um, which we're growing our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe. We'll be posting a lot of content coming in the near future. A lot of stuff that we're working on. What we got here? Social media definitely should be taught to all students. I also wonder why teachers don't need CPR first aid certifications. Yes. Agreed. I think social media should definitely be taught. I feel like there's so much value in it, and it is just a part of everyday life that kids need help with it. A lot of help. It's some of us adults need help with it. Like there's days that I find myself just scrolling and not even know what I'm doing, not even looking at anything specific. Just scrolling social media. You can definitely get lost in it. So I feel like having classes just about it would be phenomenal. Maybe something that we'll start. Um, and we are gonna actually we're putting something together within Playmaker University, but um, outside of that, might have to be something that we put together on the first aid certification. That can't speak too much on. I don't know a whole lot about it. I do feel like I should be first aid certified. I'm probably gonna go do that. I need a refresher. All that stuff would be great as a teacher, as a coach, as a trainer. Yeah, I agree. Should figure out how we should get that taken care of. Anyway, hope everyone has a great week. Hope you had a fun, safe weekend. Spring here is finally. I woke up to snow in St. Cloud yesterday. Like, I'm sick of snow so far, or this late in the year. So I don't know what that meant. Anyway, sick of snow. Ready for spring. Ready for summer. Going to be a fun summer in the world of AAU and just getting to watch my kids and coach my kids, and going to be a fun summer. Have a good week. See you next week. Laters.